I'm Paula Eddy Wilcox, and welcome to this episode of Game of Leadership, the podcast for curious leaders. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at the leadership journey of our guest and what unique traits bring them to be the leader they are today. Who knows what we're going to discover together, so I hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome to today's episode of Game of Leadership podcast. Today I'm super excited. We've got Hayley Webb with us. Now, I first met Hayley on the most random weekend with a group of brilliant women. Had no idea who Hayley was at that point. In fact, we only met in January 2022. And we were supposed to be doing this hiking and biking weekend and challenging ourselves out of our comfort zones. We had lots of women, varying levels of abilities. And I have to say, I've never felt so safe in my life with Hayley and her very good friend looking after us for the weekend. Now, Hayley was our guide, our cook, and our entertainment. So I can see you smiling there, Hayley. And I was instantly impressed with the way that Hayley looked after us, particularly up the mountain. We did have one of our ladies get injured, and she just immediately took charge, sorted it all out. We all knew what we needed to do, whether it was standing out the way or driving the lady to hospital, whatever it was. And she was just amazing. So I know, I'm so excited. I know there are so many amazing stories that make Hayley who she is today. So let me just read a couple of bits because, it would be rude not to do a little bit of looking around on the website, Hayley, about how you show up as a person. And it was lovely to read what was on the website and knowing that that's really how you show up in your day to day. And it was great fun. She says, what I love that you say, this is how I relax, taking it all in, enjoying the views, the nature, and enjoying the life I have, living and breathing the mountains, either by myself, with my husband, friends, family, and hopefully you, if I haven't scared you off already. And I just love that. Welcome, Hayley. I hope you're getting that. I'm really excited to have you here.
I'm sensing it.
Now, because of Hayley's ridiculous schedule, and I don't know that ridiculous quite covers it, but let's just say it's off the charts crazy. We are recording this at silly o'clock in the morning, so if energy is a little bit low, or we go a bit hysterical, you'll understand why. Yeah, let's just slap the face a little bit and wake ourselves up. Ribena, you see, I've got a drip of coffee in my arm. No, not really, but I feel like I need one. So, welcome.
Good morning. I'm good.
So, little birdie told me that you may have another group arriving this afternoon of crazy people that are doing similar to what we did in January. Is that right?
Yes, I've got 13 or 14, I forget without checking the diary, but they'll arrive today for 3 days of multi-activities. So we are paddleboarding, gill scrambling, climbing, walking, swimming in the lake and cycling over the next 3 days. And I'm feeding them, of course.
Of course. So who have you got helping? Who's the A team this weekend?
So I've actually got 5 of us working this weekend, delivering all the activities. There's myself and Joe, who you met.
Yeah.
My mum, who's also a mountain leader, and comes and helps me, kitchen extraordinaire. And then I have 2 of my best girls, Gemma and Jenny, who are both also outdoor instructors. So yeah, it's quite finely tuned to pack it all in and provide as much fun as we can in those 3 days. And we look like the weather's going to behave.
Yeah, it's looking quite good this weekend. Fingers crossed. And I'll be thinking of you. And I've done quite a lot of early morning training this week, and I'm grateful that I'm now not having to embark on a weekend like you've just described. I have to say, though, it will be the most fantastic fun. And as much as they will come back knackered and broken, it'll be happy, knackered and broken.
Yeah, most of these, I've got a few new ladies, but I've got some ladies and gents that have been coming out for years. And actually, I think it's almost becoming like a bit of a cult, actually. I put something on and everyone just comes, don't even know what I'm doing. They just come anyway.
Like the film Field of Dreams, build it and they will come.
They just keep coming. I don't know what I have to do to scare them off, really.
Well, it sounds like you can't. And just for those of you listening, I mean, Hayley just has this infectious draw, is the way that I would describe it. And that is in a very positive sense. Once you have a Hayley Webb Adventures experience, nothing else will do. And I've got an adventure weekend with another group of ladies in June, and we are doing some different things, and we don't have a Hayley with us, so it'll be really interesting to see how that goes in comparison. But we have some very experienced ladies with us, but we're all doing our own catering, and so maybe chaos will ensue in the kitchen.
Noodle.
Yeah. Who's doing the shopping? Haven't worked that bit out yet. But anyway, it could be interesting. But if all else fails, Hayley, I might have you on speed dial, if that's okay.
Not sure where I'm available in June, actually.
Yeah, you're going to be somewhere in the Himalayas, I suspect. But
I'm in Crete. I've got an adventure week running in Crete, and then I get home and then I go to the Alps.
Oh, wow.
Himalayas in November.
See, I'll be sitting here supporting clients, which is amazing, but not quite the adventure.
I go out to play for a living. My husband goes to work.
Yeah. Oh, how lovely. So when I gave your introduction, I didn't want to say some of the things that you've been doing, because that would give clues to people as to really your story of how you've become the incredible leader you are today. So I would love to hear, but I've heard some of this anyway, but I would love for our listeners to hear your story as to how you've got to here. And we're lucky enough to have Hayley with us for 3 episodes where we're going to look at different aspects of her life. But for today's episode, let's have a listen to your story, if that's all right with you.
Yeah. Where do I start?
The beginning.
Oh, crikey, we might need about 10 episodes for that. Let's pop it into a bit of a nutshell initially, and then you can pick out what you want from there. But my parents took us out on the hill from when I was about 7 or 8, so I didn't really have much choice. We were dragged out whether we liked it or not, and that was it. I grew up in West London, and we would most weekends in the car off up to Snowdonia. Holidays were spent in the Lake District or Derbyshire. My first mountain was Thorpe Cloud in Dovedale, for those that know it. And then actually my first real mountain when I was 11, my parents took me around the Snowdon Horseshoe, and I can remember crawling across Grib Gog while my dad had his hands in his pockets crying, "Daddy, please hold on." And that kind of set me up really for future. I went on adventure, the adventure holidays you do with the school and stuff, and remember some of the hard kids crying while I was like, "Oh, wow, actually I'm all right. I'm quite good at this." And then I went in the military.
Oh, wow.
Short-lived in the military, just shy of 4 years, for a medical problem with my shins, and then kind of wafted around a bit. Literally didn't really know what to do with myself. And I did have a bit of a bad attitude when I come out of the army, because I just went and worked in this sandwich factory. Do you know how many pairs of hands go in a packed sandwich? Oh my goodness, don't even go there.
Yeah, okay. Maybe best not.
I'll let you dwell on that thought. And the lady came and shouted at me because this lettuce had fallen on the conveyor belt. And I just thought, well, you're not going to make me do 100 press ups, and you can't make me run around the building, and you can't put me in jail, and the worst you can do is sack me, and I don't really want to be here anyway. So I kind of, there was a little while where things went that way. And I had my daughter at 20, which was another one of life's, would you say, anomalies? And out she popped, and suddenly I was 20 and I was on my own with a baby. I thought, I better get my mess together, really. And I took a part-time job in an Italian restaurant on a Friday and Saturday night, and it turns out I can cook.
Oh, fantastic.
And they gave me a bit of an opportunity to just help out more than washing up. And I then ended up in a couple of pubs, just on the bar, cellar trained, learned the gases, learned the lines, learned the beers, learned the beers very well, and the wine and gin.
Were you doing the taste tests?
Yeah, quality control, I think we call it.
Very good. Yes.
And I went to a place called Bowood House and applied for a job for a chef doing the food for when the golfers came in. It's a big golf country club place down in Wiltshire. And basically I didn't have anything that was on the list that they required. So I just rocked up anyway, asked if they'd give me a job, and if I was rubbish they could sack me. And the chef was outraged, and the owner kind of liked that attitude and gave me the opportunity. And I trained there, and ended up basically over the next few years wiggling my way up until I became a head chef in one of the hotels in Coniston. Moved to the Lakes 15 years ago. So it's the longest I've actually been in one county. And I didn't move here to chef. I moved here to play in the outdoors. So yeah, and that's kind of then crescendoed up to today. Feeding and mountaineering all in one go. I need to have a little chat with myself, I think.
Oh, please don't, because then we don't get to experience the Hayley Webb adventure experience. I mean, it's just what a phenomenal skill set to bring together to give people the most amazing and, in a lot of cases, life-changing experiences. Because you must have seen some people, you know, perhaps are terrified of doing the horseshoe on Snowdonia, but you've helped them do that. I mean, what's that like, helping people do that kind of stuff?
It's amazing. It makes me cry. Makes me really well up. I don't ever forget where I came from, and that I have been through the motions of being terrified, and still do, of things outdoors, pushing my own boundaries. And so when people come to me with a fear of whether it's walking downhill, whether it's climbing up, whether it's navigation, being lost, clipping into a rope, I never forget that I've had tears on those moments of complete fear. I was at a stage a little bit not scared of anything, which is actually really scary. And then, yeah, that's a really bad. It's basically not safe. If you're not scared of anything, you're not that safe. I know we see like the Free Solo films and stuff, but they've got a little crazy bit of their brain missing, which makes them do that stuff that generally, in reality, people, if they don't have a fear level, they're not necessarily that safe. And I was a bit like that. I just dive around, and not because I didn't have a care in the world, I just didn't have that fear factor. And then the fear factor developed. I had to then figure that out and work back through. So when I see people overcome something, even if it's having their hand held the entire time, but they do it, that's why I do what I do. I want to be outside. I want to walk on the mountains. But if I can see people achieve stuff that for them is a really massive deal, that makes my heart happy.
Oh,
I say
wow.
it's the other wrong side.
Yeah, we're all back to front on this camera, aren't we? It's all very strange. But yeah, I mean, gosh, the emotion that is involved in that. I mean, you know, as a coach, seeing people go through sort of mindful transformation, if you like, in the work that I do, can be emotional. Of course it can, but to see somebody do that physical transformation in front of you, because coaching can be slower, it's not quite so instant, if you like, instant gratification.
Yeah, it's not instant with what I
Yeah.
do either sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have people that you work with over time then to?
Yeah, I've got a few people that have been coming for a few years actually, and we've built up, and some of those have gone on to do their mountain leader training and assessment. And some people have gone and done walks on their own that they would never have done. But I'm still there, whether it be on the end of the phone or whether they keep booking days, and the majority keep booking days actually. I've got a particular lady who's been coming out for a few years now. She had a real problem with walking downhill. She'd had a fall. She'd been out on a guided walk and part of a bigger group, and she'd had a fall, and there wasn't really anyone around to help her. And she felt silly, and she was a bit hurt, and the pride gets dented as well, you know, especially if there's friends or other people see you. And her walking downhill was just, I mean, she couldn't walk down a grassy slope. That lady has done the corridor route, for those that know it, up onto Scarfell Pike with me now. She's done Great Gable and come down the steep scrambly side. She would never have done that on the first day I took her out. She would have just sat on the floor and cried. And we've had tears, you know, and each time the tears come, we have a chat about the very first day walking down some grass, and that now she laughs at that. And it takes time. It does take time. And sometimes you'll slip back, and then you have to come back up again. It's probably very similar to you as well. Some days it's an instant thing. Depends what we're doing, but sometimes it can take a while for people to overcome.
Yeah, it is interesting, that parallel actually. And as you say, slipping back, you know, I've worked with a couple of clients a little bit longer term, where there's moments where the whatever troubled them in the first place, the limiting belief, for example, you know, might come back and rear its ugly head, as we say. You know, to bite them again, and just remind them that they have to keep working on these things to help themselves move forwards. You know, and it's incredible to have people like you that are able to support them and nurture them and challenge them at an appropriate level for them to be able to keep moving forwards.
I have it myself, and have literally just come back from Wales on Monday and Tuesday, where I was paying someone else to help me overcome a problem that I've got in rock climbing, that I can get to a certain level, but I can't get past because my head absolutely won't let me. my skill is there to do it, but something just stops. And so I've been working with a lady for a year now who has unlocked this problem for me, and that's made me emotional as well.
Hey, Hayley, anything goes here. If we have a few tears, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, she's unlocked something for me that I didn't think could be done, and that is the same way that I do for others. So despite what I do, I've got my demons, you know, and I think that helps people associate with, and I don't hide that, you know, there's no bravado here. I've cried a lot. I've you know, been scared. I get scared. It's just all relevant to the level that you're at. but it's the same feeling that controls you and stops you from moving forward. So it's just a very real thing, and I think people like the fact that I've been there, and I still am, depending what I'm doing. So yeah, it's an amazing. I've got the best job in the world. I'm really lucky. I'm very privileged that people want to come out and come walking with me up a mountain or waterfalls or whatever it is. I'm very lucky.
Oh, I love that, and your passion always comes through. And funny that you say that you don't hide it too. I mean, you know, when I say to people, well, of course I've got a coach. You know, they're like, really? Why do you need a coach? You're a coach. Well,
Yes,
sometimes it's really hard to coach yourself, and not always possible, because like you say, something in our brain isn't allowing us to move forwards. So being able to, you know, have someone else, as you rightly put it, unlock whatever that blocker is. Because, you know, we all have blind spots as well. You know, when we look at different aspects of our strengths and, you know, blind spots and, you know, emerging things that we weren't sure about, you know, with something called Johari window, where we can look at these things with the help of other people. And, you know, you need the help of other people to, as you say, help you unlock these things. And it's incredible what powerful things can happen in the brain when we get that support that really makes a difference for us. And you're doing it up mountains, I'm doing it from my office. I think I like the idea of coaching up a mountain. Maybe I should try that.
people do.
They do. And, you know, I'm right near the Peak District, so maybe it's a bit rude not to try it, eh? We'll see.
I've got a friend who is a mountain leader, and he has done a lot of meditation and mindfulness. That's his thing. And he combines the two. And he worked on the West Highland Way trip that I just ran in April with me as one of my guides. And he actually provided some meditation some nights, and everyone loved it. They had like the best of both worlds. So you can totally go and do what you do outdoors and up a mountain somewhere. It's
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I might think about that. Or maybe there's an opportunity for us to team up somehow, Hayley, and do it then.
Oh yeah.
I just may need about 4 years work before you get me on the you know, these sorts of pinnacles with me walking along the edge.
No, you won't. No, you won't. A couple of days, you'll be right.
Okay. So, what, you know, one part of your story is that I know you are a fully qualified mountain leader. So, how did that come about?
So I definitely, when I moved to the lakes, that was on my agenda. I wanted to be. I was driving from Wiltshire to the lakes or Snowdonia most weekends, and it was just ridiculous. And my daughter was being dragged there, and we'd often kip in the car, so I could afford to just get out to feed that habit, if you like. I tried to go out, and despite her tantruming, as she often would, despite that picture of her up there, she did not really embrace doing any exercise description. So I just moved here and ended up in a kitchen. And to be honest, as a single mum, and I don't really use those words very much because there's lots of people like it out there, and it definitely, I don't like that to be I don't like it to be used, if you like. Because I was a single mum. I was a single mum, so it made life pretty tricky to do what I wanted to do, as I'm sure quite a lot of people out there will associate with mums and dads. And I couldn't manage to get out of work to do the qualifications, because you got to pay for them. It costs a lot of money to get qualified in the outdoors. And it actually wasn't really until I got with my husband 9 years ago. And we were kind of part of the same group of mates that had been going out for like about the last 14 years, that we all knew each other. And we went to the Alps and came back and just, well, I went to the Alps and got a husband. Really, don't go to the Alps. Don't have a hot tub.
Story for a gin for another day, right?
Yeah. And we got together pretty quickly, and he moved up to the lakes with me and just said, just stop what you're doing and go and book on your mountain leader, because it's what you should be doing and it's what you want to do. And it was really having that support from him. I would have done it eventually, but it might have took another year or two when Jordan was again, because she was 13 when I done it, and she was starting to get to the age where I could she could get herself home from school on her own. She didn't need me to pick her up. But even that's not that simple in the lakes, because the bus systems aren't that great when you live here. So it was really tricky to take 6 days off to do the training course. And not earn at that time as well, and pay the money to do it, and then do the assessment, which is then another 5 days. And I was given, they told me I could book my assessment pretty much straight away. I was very ready for it. I had a lot of experience, and it actually wasn't until probably at least 6-7 months later, 6 months maybe later, that I did it. And that was just time, mum stuff, to fit it in. And so once I'd done it, I was like, oh great, I'm a mountain leader, I can go and work outside. And it doesn't really work like that. It doesn't work like that. Because writing on my Facebook page, here's a guided mountain walk, and all the people I know don't need a guided mountain walk, so they're not going to go pay for it. And so it's quite tricky, actually. And then I took lots of work working for others, basically freelancing. And even that is really sporadic. You still have to have another job. You can't, and then that's tricky because jobs come up that you want, and you can't do it because you've got another day job, if you like. And so it is really hard to break into the outdoors and make a go of it. Some people choose to just freelance and work for others forever. I definitely knew that I wanted to do my own thing. I'm quite stubborn-minded like that, and I definitely wanted to do things my way. I can't say that I had in my head how things are now. That was definitely she says, with chocolate fudge cakes and stuff coming out the kitchen at the moment. It's evolved. But the thing was to get qualified and be able to go out and get paid to do what is my favorite thing in the world.
Oh, amazing. Oh, Hayley, I could talk to you all day. It's absolutely fascinating to hear your story, and I'm so grateful for your stubbornness, because if you hadn't had that, I don't think I'd have met you, experienced your amazing leadership up on the mountain, and just tasted your amazing lemon cake and flapjacks and whatever else you gifted us with that few days we were together. Thank you so much for being who you are and showing up so authentically. It's just fabulous to see, and we need more people like you in this world. It would make it a much better place. Oh. Well, look, we're really lucky. We've got you for another 2 episodes. So to everyone listening, please come listen again next week and the week after, because we'll have Hayley with us again, talking about her view of the game and the leadership aspect, and then really some of her defining moments in her 3rd episode. So I know it's exciting, isn't it? All right, so that's it for today. As you can probably tell, Hayley and I could probably speak all day. It's crazy. So but we'll hold on there, and we'll save some of the good stuff for our next episode. So thank you, Hayley.
You're welcome.
Great talking to you, and I can't wait to talk to you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Game of Leadership, the podcast for curious leaders. Today, we listen to the leadership journey of our guest and how they got to be where they are today. Now, in the chats, we talked about all sorts of different things, and there are lots of bits and pieces in there that are going to mean something different to each and every one of you. You'll all have your own unique takeaways, so I encourage you to do a bit of reflection now and see what this might mean for your leadership moving forwards. I'm Paula Eddy Wilcox, and I look forward to seeing you on Game of Leadership, the podcast for curious leaders, next week. Bye for now.